Okay, so I've done 2 videos, and this third one is about me and how vocal alchemy has improved my life and how I have been using it on myself and using myself as a guinea pig to know that what I do works. So, let's see. Where do I begin? First of all, I am a miracle child. I'm 52. I'm almost 52. But I, when I was a child, 13 months old, I was in a car accident. My parents were driving in Fairbanks, Alaska, and they got in a head-on collision. And my head went through the window shield, right? That's what my mother has told me over time. And I still have a scar on the side of my head from that accident. And I was in a coma. I was unconscious in a coma for about, I think they said 3 days. I was flown down to the Children's Hospital in Seattle, Washington from Fairbanks, Alaska. And they told my parents, oh, she's going to be developmentally challenged. She won't be able to walk and talk, And, well, I'm here today walking, talking, running, doing all kinds of stuff, right? I made it to 52. Anyhow, that's how my story began. And since that time, I have my family, my mother, especially in her side of the family, I don't know so much about my father's side when it comes to this kind of stuff. Native American background. My father is part Cherokee, Indian, Choctaw, and his mother and some of her siblings grew up on a native reservation. So there's that, and all the things that come along with that. However, my mother's family is what I know the stories of. My grandmother, my great-grandmother were all very powerful women who had abilities and skills to heal and to do amazing things spiritually. And they prayed. They prayed over me, and this is the result. I come from a family of believers and faith, of just knowing you command with your voice, you command with your words, right? And we live by faith. We don't have everything, but we live by faith, So over the years, I grew up, and like I said, I went to France. I learned how to be a sound healer. I've always been a dreamer. God has spoken to me in dreams my whole life. I've seen things, I've heard things. And anyhow, I find myself living in France, where these beings came to me in a dream, and I woke up and I was like, oh my God, they showed me how to do sound healing. What am I supposed to do? You're going to go and do it. I was like, okay. So from the time that happened in France, it was like 2006. No, wait, it was later than that. It was like 2009. I think it was 2009. So I was there from 2006, end of 2005 to 2011. So I came back home to America, where I began just driving cross country and doing this vocal alchemy stuff. And let's see, what was my first, with my own body? I've had encounters with other people and what I've done with them, but I want to talk about my own body. So I was living in Seattle, Washington, and I had a back problem. My neck was hurting, my back was hurting so bad that I had gotten an adjustable bed. I've got that for free on the neighborhood page, on Facebook. I got a chair to sleep in. I was just struggling. And mind you, I do vocal alchemy. I know this stuff. I've helped other people. But for some reason, I don't know why, it took me a long time to just decide I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why I'm sitting here suffering. And, it wasn't the first time. The first time, though, I'll go back to that. It wasn't my first healing experience. So I said to my back, I said, you know what? I don't know why this night of all nights, it wasn't a spectacular night. It wasn't crazy, but I just said to myself and to my back, look, back, I love you and I need you, but you got to stop this right now. We can't do this no more. You got to stop it. And so I said, thank you for the healing. Thank you for feeling better. And we're good now. And the energy must have come together, heart, body, mind, and soul. came together, the words spoken, meant it, every bit of it. I didn't yell, I didn't scream, I didn't dance. I just said it as I was on my way to bed, in the bed that night. And when I woke up the next day, it was as though it never happened. And I was like, what? Vocal alchemy. The ability to use your words to transform the energy around you, to agree, to come into agreement with what you're asking for within your body and to command it into being. Vocal alchemy, right? So I was like, why the heck did I wait so long to do that? Mind you, this is after I had lived in France. This is after I had driven across the country, and now I'm in my own apartment. Before all of that, I had gone to Paris for a vacation because I wanted to scout the land out. I was going to go there to live. So I went there. I was walking around wearing the wrong shoes, and when I came back home to Alaska, my back was hurting, my feet were hurting, and I went to take a bath one day, and I bent the wrong way, and I twisted my back in such a way that I couldn't move. I was out. I was like, I had to lay down in bed, and if I wasn't laying in bed, I was in excruciating pain. And I went to the doctor with my father, and I guess, and this is another reason why. Who needs to go to the doctor where they're going to accuse you of being a drug addict? Right? I mean, who needs that? You're in pain and you're trying to get help, and they're like, well, so they gave me Percocet for back pain. Well, I've never been on any kind of opioid or drug or I've never needed that. Well, they gave this to me, and I was like, because I used to be super, super religious and judgmental, very dogmatic, and I took this one little Percocet, and I was like, oh, this is why this is amazing. And I had an instant of clarity and thought, and then I was out. I couldn't really live and function. I would take a pill, and then I would be like, whoa, out. And I did that for Friday, Saturday, and half a Sunday. And I was like, look, I got shit to do. I got places to go. I am moving to France, so I can't be living like this. And there was a woman in our church at that time who she lived on opioids because she had major back problems, and she was always in pain, and so she was always on the drugs. And I was like, that's not going to be my life. I got shit to do. I don't have time for this. So that week, it wasn't that weekend, the miracles of the Passion of the Christ, or the Passion of the Christ and Miracles or something. Anyways, that documentary film had come out, and I watched it. And right after watching that movie on TV in my room, I said, you know what? I know it. And I knew what to do. The day that I sat on the chair, Friday afternoon, I sat on the chair and I was like, I know what to do, but I just didn't have it in me. The faith wasn't there. I didn't really know what was going on. It hadn't gotten that bad yet. It was like slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I was a little bit scared and nervous. I've never had to do anything like that in my life. And by day 3, I was so fed up. And I watched that movie. Now in that movie, the main character was Jesus. And so I used the name of Jesus, and at the time I was a devout, very spiritual Christian. And I laid there. I had my legs up as though I were giving birth or something. I was laying on my back, and I was alone, and I was crying. I had tears streaming down my face, and I just said, Jesus, really loud. I screamed out, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. 3 times. Every ounce of my being just gave that. I was in another plane of existence, reaching that level. And I felt a flow of energy flow from the top of my head through my body out. And it was done. Then I heard a voice say, get up and walk. And I did. And that was the end of that pain, that problem, Percocet. That was it. Didn't need any of it anymore. And I haven't had to go back to that. That was 2000. 2005, I think 2000, I think it was 2005. But anyhow, yes. And so because of these experiences, you know, and on one hand, you know, those of you who are Christians say, yes, Jesus is the power, Jesus, yes. But that's vocal alchemy as well. Once again, we command with our words. Command it into being. But not just with our words, with full knowing and belief. Full knowing and belief. Not hoping, not wishing, not praying, not oh God, I wish, please help me, Lord. Please, if you see that I am enough to deserve. No, command. If you believe and do not doubt. If you believe and do not doubt, this is yours. Right? I'm not dogmatic. I no longer call myself by the name Christian, because there's a deeper message in that practice that has led me to the place I am right now. And it is not that I need to go to church and pay my tithe and do all these. And nope. Some of those people, many of those people, are some of the most evil people on earth. And I won't go into that. Let's just, I'm not saying they're all evil. I'm not saying you're evil because you're a Christian. I'm saying that I think we are all here for a different purpose, reason, season, all that. And we are called to different practices, religious practice. You could be a Muslim, Christian, Buddha, whatever, and have the gift and power and skill to do vocal alchemy. Okay? So this is not about dogma. This is not about you have to say this or that. There's none of that. Okay? But that was just one of the stories. And then now recently, I'm going to skip ahead. Recently, in 2022, after a series, you know, of my own encounters in life, things going bad, it was COVID and all, I never got that because I was told, do not own that, do not believe in that, do not give your body, mind, spirit, or soul to any of that fear or that energy. And then I came up with a command, I can't get it. I cannot get it. It cannot enter my body. My body eats it for breakfast. That's what happens. I can't get it. And I fed myself those words. And as far as I know, I never had it. I never went through any of that. Right? You could do that with a lot of things. And we'll get into that. I can't be caught saying it, but we'll get into that in the lessons and the practice that we will be doing, right? But I had fear. In the very beginning, I was like, oh my God, I got it. Oh, what's wrong? I can't breathe. Psychosomatic. I was stressed. I was filled with anxiety about what was going on around me. It seemed like the end of the world. And Spirit was like, don't you dare let that energy into your body. Don't you dare. And I had to breathe and talk myself out of it. I'm a human going through these experiences with the knowledge that I have. How do I marry that? How do I get out of the mentality that we should be afraid, that we should live like this and all function that same way? I had to work through that to become the power that I am today, right? And it doesn't mean that occasional glimpses of, oh my God, what am I going to do if this happens, or if this is going through, or whatever. I have to make a choice. We all have to make a choice, right? But I'll get into that down the line. Anyhow, so 2022, I came home to still live with my mother and my brother. I got a blood clot in my leg. And now, something about me, I know my body. I know my body. I know what's going on in my body. And I felt something pebble-like in my leg. And it was hurting, but it wasn't like excruciating pain. It just didn't feel right. It felt like I was having a cramp, but the cramp hadn't quite settled in. And I was like, what's going on? Why do I feel like this? Why wasn't this cramp like any other cramp? And what caused me to go, hey, something's not right. And I said, I don't know what this is, but it doesn't feel right. It's not right. So I said, I'll give it 3 days and then I'll go to the ER. I went to the ER finally 3 days later because I was like, it's not right. I don't know what it is. And they were like, yep, you have a DVT, deep vein thrombosis. And I was like, gasp. And then I did some research, found out all about it and everything. But in the meantime, they prescribed me with Xarelto, something like that. Cost $800 a month, which I didn't have at that particular time. I didn't even have Medicaid. I had nothing. But they prescribed me with Xarelto, and told me I needed to take it for like 3 months, and I would have to go back. That was 1 month prescription. I need to go back, get another one after it was all that. Then another one. I was like, that would have been, almost $3,000 of medicine. And before I did that, here's how they get you. Oh, we just need to do a blood test and check your kidneys. How's your kidneys functioning? Wonder why? Wonder why? Oh, because we need to make sure that your kidneys are functioning well enough, because this has an effect on the overall function of your kidneys. It's in the fine print. He didn't tell me that. No, he would never. Why do you need to do that? Oh, we just need to make sure, your body's okay. But he would never say, well, this has he didn't say it. And it's my responsibility to read the fine print. So I sat with myself and I said, at the time when all this was in development, I was in a 200-hour Kundalini yoga teacher training class, learning to breathe and do the things. How the hell did I end up with that? I wasn't a terrible eater, What happened? And then I was also doing pranayama training. I was also in yin yang yoga training, right? All this trauma informed. And so how did I get here? And I said to myself, I know how, because I was also going through a season of depression and sadness because of the move, the loss of everything I had. No money, no job, from $100,000 a year at one job to nothing, to a studio with everything, my art, my passions for life, the things that I worked so hard for. And now I'm here with nothing, living with my mother in the living room, right, of her house. And going through things with family members who were kind of like unpleased with my decision. And I got so down about that I guess I wished for death. I don't know. But the distraughtness that I felt in my body showed up in that blood clot, and I said, ooh, I started talking to my body. Body, I love you. I want to live. I choose to live, right? I choose to live. And I call this vocal alchemy because I'm speaking to myself. I'm speaking to the energy around me. I'm speaking into my flesh. I choose to live. Thank you, body, that I am alive and that the blood is flowing through my veins, smooth and fresh as it should be. Thank you, and rubbing. And then I made a salve, cayenne pepper salve, with beeswax, olive oil, and cayenne pepper. And I would get in the shower and I would rub this over my body. I did take their medication for 2 weeks, but I didn't feel right about it, so I cut the pills in half. I told the lady doctor that I had gone to see, who was very terrible, awful, right? That I didn't like the pills and stuff, and she was just like, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing it. I said, you know what, I'm doing it. And then I never went back to see her again. And I took command of my body and I said, no. Skipping ahead, that was in 2022. We're here to this day. Now, since I have worked on, I'm going to say that whole month, that was December, my birthday, December, that happened right around that week, all into January. Every day I would wake up, I'm alive. Oh my God. Because was there going to be a blood clot rush to my head? Poof. Take me out. I was thinking about it like, oh my God, no, I'm speaking against it. I'm working on myself. I'm praying. I'm giving thanks to be alive. I'm giving thanks. I want to be alive. I kept saying that. I thank you for being alive. I want to be alive. I choose to live. And what you do when you say that, I choose to live. I choose it. Say it. I choose to live. And when you say, I choose to live with purpose and every meaning of everything, I choose to live, I will myself, I choose to live, the choices come. The choices that will help you to live come. Eat this, drink this, do this, do that. Choose. Oh, you choose? Well, these are the choices that you've chosen because you want to live. This is what you call in by saying, I choose to live. I chose. And the choices came, and poof, 2026, I'm here, no blood clots. But I have feelings sometimes, and I'm like, ooh, and I go, oh, thank you, blood, you're flowing through my body. I do all this work, right? And I have faith that is working. I don't go, I hope it's working. Oh my God, oh, what? But last 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I want to say it wasn't what I thought it was, and in my mind, in my heart, I knew it was something else. But I said, let me be on the safe side. I could be wrong. So I went to the emergency room because I was like, this heaviness feels weird. I don't have a shortness of breath, but I do feel strange. And I don't know what a pulmonary embolism feels like, but I believe, I want to know, but what if I'm crazy, right? Let me just do my due diligence and just go to the doctor. And I went to the doctor. I went to the emergency room because I didn't want to be a fool and just be like, nope, I'm stubborn. We should all go get those tests to prove, right? And that's what this did. Took the test. He put me in the CAT scan machine and scanned my body. And they were using words in the report like excellence, awesome, to describe my veins and things. And I'm like, my shit works. I don't usually get backup tests. I just have to know. I mean, I'm like, hey, I'm healed. Great, let's move on. I don't usually have the luxury of going to the doctor and taking a blood test or doing this or that or the other because, and that test confirmed that what I do works. And I believe in it 100%. And you will too when you start working on your own body and practicing, right? I don't say don't take your medicine. I don't say don't do certain things. I say work on yourself until you feel something in your body click, and then you have to go, and the doctor will have to say, you've got to get off of that medicine because you don't need it anymore. And then you're free. And then you can stop doing that because you don't need that anymore. And your medicine is your alchemy. My medicine is me speaking life over myself. And it alchemizes. Alchemy is when you convert things, right? So you speak life over yourself, and that word goes into your body and converts the things that are being destroyed into rejuvenated body parts, rejuvenated cells, because that's the ability that our body has. Look at us, we're here now. We wouldn't be here today in these bodies if we didn't have that ability. How many times have we fell and cut ourselves and broken something and our body healed itself? And then there was the eye, right? A week before that, my eye started hurting, just bulging. I was like, what in the world? Oh my God, why? I don't. And the story behind that is in 2024, I went to the eye doctor. The eye doctor looked in my eye and he was like, pulling. And he said, you have your retina is becoming detached. And I was like, oh my God, really? I was like, what does that mean? It's like, well, just, you might want to get a second opinion. But he didn't say anything to me about it. He didn't tell me what it was. He didn't tell me anything. He just said, yeah, it looks like your retina is getting detached. Well, I do eye healing exercises. I do stuff with my eyes. Not as much as I should because I'm still wearing these glasses. I just went today to get a new pair of reading glasses. But I have done eye exercises for eye healing, and they have improved my eyesight because my prescription changed, right? So, for the better. So, that was in 2024. Skipping ahead to a few weeks ago, I went to this urgent care where they gave me a referral, all that to get a referral. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was feeling all kinds of things in my body. Guess what? I'm going through menopause, people. I am, and other things, right? So I'm like, shit. So I have to do all this body healing stuff on myself right now because of the conversions. So I go to this eye doctor. My friend said, you need to see an eye doctor, not the ophthalmologist or none of that shit. You need to go to the eye doctor, the medical doctor. So okay, so I went to her. She did all this stuff, looking into my eye with a machine and doing staring into my face. And after all that, she's just looking at me. She looked at me very like peculiar, like, there's nothing wrong with your eye. Your eyes are fine. And I was like, there's no detached retina? She's like, no, there's no detached, there's nothing there. She said that there was some debris. She said, oh, I see it. It's debris. Debris from what? So I'm thinking, did I heal did I have beginnings of that and heal it? 2 times, people, 2 times. And there are scores of other things. I've worked with people who have had fibromyalgia, right? I worked with this woman in Gearhart, Oregon, when I was traveling across the country doing vocal alchemy or vocal sound healing. And we would do these sessions as an exchange for me to stay on her property. And I had moved on. I was driving down. I was in California. I was in this first town in California. As you drive down 101, it's a creepy town, but the redwoods are there. It's beautiful in that sense, but it's creepy. Anyways, I'm driving to this town and I'm on the docks area, and I had woken up early in the morning. No, this was another day. Anyhow, I was walking along the beach, beautiful sunny day, walking, just all the way out, like doing things that people who travel alone should not be doing in the middle of nowhere. And she calls me on my phone and she's like, Tamara, you're never going to believe what happened. And she said she started seeing geometric shapes in her eye when she closed her eyes. And she said, it's you. I think you heals my fibromyalgia. She said that the energy was working through her and she could see it. I was like, wow. Are you serious? Like, I was on the beach way far away from where she was. She's in Oregon. I'm in California. She's in, Gearhart. I'm in California, and bam, we're having this conversation. And I was just like, holy cow. Those are just some of the experiences that I've had, you will have them too if you practice and start doing this work. This is not a course of you can do it right or wrong. This is a course of you do it how your guidance is leading you. And what I'm teaching you is how to trust your guidance, trust your intuition, so that you can feel into, press into, and open up the channels that come to you to show you. There have been times when I'm doing sound healing sessions on people, and all of a sudden there's a team of people around me, my guides, handing me tools and helping me do different things. And I'm like, whoa, to heal the people. And it's all just happening, right? So anyway, this is the longest talk, my own testimony. I love testifying to what has happened to me over the years. So I hope that this gives you some background knowledge about me and how I started this path and how this has worked for me. And I'm using it now. I'm going to be doing a series of channelings and vocal alchemies and vocal sound healings on this channel in the next weeks, because I've been told that I have fibroids. And so I'm going to get rid of them using vocal alchemy, vocal sound healing. I'm working on increasing my iron levels, and I'm going to do that with vocal alchemy, vocal sound healing. My body's having trouble absorbing and keeping the iron so that my energy stores are up. But I'm going to do the miracle of increasing my iron through the supplements that I take, as well as through the vocal alchemy and energy healing, which is going to help to get rid of the source of this deficiency, as well as to help my blood to increase. And I will have to get tests to see how those results happen. So you get to walk with me through this process, as well I will be doing this for a number of this. I will be giving sessions on the free part of my channel weekly for fibroids, for iron deficiency, for all kinds of things. And you can be there. Tell your friends, hey, come to my living room on this date and we can receive this and see what happens, right? So that's what I offer here. That's what I will be doing. It's been a long process. I had a death in the family. My brother passed away, and I've been working through that, and it's been taking me a while to get myself up and running again in my business, and I do so many things, so it's hard to get back on SKOOL and my YouTube channel to start making videos and being productive again. So anyways, thank you for joining me, Tamara Zenobia, here at Inner Guidance Healing Art Studio and Gallery. And I call it inner guidance because it really truly is inner guidance. We use our inner guidance, the voice of our bodies, our cells speak to us if we ask, right? And they will feed us what it is that we need to keep ourselves in alignment. We work together. We, the body, my mind, spirit, we work together to live in harmony with ourselves. And what that looks like is a beautiful thing. Beautiful. Coherence, support. It's a process, and it slows us down. And we become the beings that we desire to be. Yes, a deep breath. Thank you for joining me. Hakuna Matata. See you next time.